from the frozen ranges of Cold Regions Test Center. This is Outpost Outspoken. Outpost Outspoken is the official podcast of U.S. Army Human Proving Ground, which conducts natural environment testing of military equipment in Arizona, Alaska, and the tropics. Hello, I'm Mark Schauer. Sam Porter was born and raised in Alaska. In his spare time, he's a former president of the Interior Mud Racing Association. But at work at Cold Regions Test Center, he and his colleagues in the Allied Trade Shop fabricate parts and specialized equipment for the harsh winter testing. So Sam, tell me about the Allied Trade Shop here at Cold Regions Test Center.
The Allied Trade Shop is a fabrication shop that incorporates metal, wood, plastics, fabrics, and we support test operations in the cold weather. We do a wide range of support projects, anything from repairing our own equipment during the summer to building custom fabricated pieces, equipment repair, targets, blast shields, cold fronts for vehicles, wooden crates for shipping materials. We never know exactly what we're going to be doing, and that's what makes working at Allied Trades a lot of fun.
Now you have to consider the extreme cold weather when you're making these things too.
Yeah, interestingly, the way it's worked out, and not necessarily by any design, the gentlemen that work in the shop are locals. And I can't speak for them, but for myself, I have been in the fabrication trade since I was 14. I got my first certs when I was extremely young, and I've been welding and designing ever since. And I worked outside the state of Alaska for a while. And the skill set that's required for cold weather fabrication, and even just operating in the cold, running equipment, getting to work, making vehicles run, is useless anywhere else. So I found that my unique cold weather skills were of no value anywhere but, in the state of Alaska. So the gentlemen that were raised locally and work in Allied Trades have brought a level of expertise, not just to getting to work and understanding the complications of working in this environment, but also fabricating, creating enclosures. An example is the bed on our welding truck is, it's a custom one-off piece that we built here at Allied Trades to support cold weather repair. And what we did is enclose the toolbox, the welding unit itself, the reels, all the components of the torch assembly, so that when we go downrange in our welding, that piece of equipment can start up and run, and it's ready to go. And that's not something that you can buy commercially. It's something unique to what we do. Our IMO support, Allied Trades, is always busy. CRTC is staffed in a way that we do a lot of our overhead catch-up during the summer, because we can't sustain both the overhead work and the test work at the same time. So our summer is used as a reset. The heavy equipment is reset. All of our own equipment is reset. Blast shields like we're building out there right now. The summer is our window to catch that. So we're extremely busy right now, which is great, but we are definitely playing catch up.
When I first met you, you were involved with mud bog racing quite significantly.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Probably like a lot of people that support events, you start by going and watching or participating and enjoying it. And what they had was a mud drag. So trucks, four-wheelers would line up in the mud pits, and the slowest were 10 and 20 second runs, and the fastest were 3 and 4 second runs. And obviously it was a blast to watch. And they had need for help operating, developing the pits. So I initially got involved with that, and then eventually moved into fundraising, helping get the group a nonprofit status as an organization, and then working with some of the bigger sponsors with power sports specifically to upgrade the event to an event that reflected kind of more of the current racing styles. Not a lot of people are building trucks anymore, and trucks was a big part of that mud bog racing. And that was a blast. That was a lot of fun. And it's a free event for most people in Delta, so yeah. Any motorsports event takes a lot of work and a lot of insurance. And the best part is now the groups, it's been handed over to another newer, younger, more aggressive group of people. They do a fantastic job with it. It's still rolling full time, and I get to go watch it.
And the Deltana races is one of the few where it's within reach of an average working person to participate.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially younger people. One thing the newer group has done is create a category or categories to include specific smaller groups of people, young children as part of that, to where more people can compete and feel like they have a chance to win. If you have all those groups all together, people tend not to participate because it's too challenging. You know, amazingly, it's a testament to the attitude of the racers and the organization and everybody together. But that event is celebrating its 30th anniversary this weekend. And they have never had a serious injury in the 30 years that they've operated.
Sam, thanks so much for talking with us today.
My pleasure.
Dave Sutherland is the lead in Cold Regions Test Center's vehicle maintenance shop, responsible for scores of vehicles in the test center's fleet. He is Alaskan to the core. He's a licensed airplane pilot, an avid outdoorsman, and even a certified farrier. Dave, does the maintenance branch ever have a non-busy season?
We don't. If we're not actively supporting tests and maintaining surfaces out at the mobility complex. Right now we're in reset mode, getting all our equipment ready for this coming season and building some roads and test pads for upcoming tests. Getting ready to start brush mowing all of our facilities. So those are our summer projects. And then winter is just strictly test support.
Now you were born and raised in Alaska, right?
Right.
As I recall, you've been elsewhere. You've worked at Disneyland for a time.
No, I applied for a job at Disneyland. It was right after I had completed horseshoeing school, right after high school. And when I finished that, a friend of mine had been working at Disneyland, driving the carts on the parades and stuff. And he turned me on to a job opportunity, but they were looking for somebody with a little more experience. So.
How did you get interested in becoming a farrier?
We had horses when I was a kid, and did the horse show circuits. And the guy that took care of our horses' feet ended up kind of like family. And whenever he'd come here to Delta, I'd ride with him to do all of his clients. And so then, as soon as I got out of school, I went and spent a summer with him as an apprentice. And it's been great. It's a good side business, and pretty much anywhere in the world I think I could probably feed myself. So, and I enjoy being around the horses. So.
Now you have another side venture too. You help people organize hunts and so on.
I've worked as an assistant hunting guide, but as far as organizing hunts for other people, no, none of that. Mostly for myself and with my friends, but I did work a couple of seasons as an assistant guide.
What sort of things are you able to hunt in interior Alaska that folks don't find elsewhere?
Moose, caribou, bear, Dall sheep, wolf. And of course we have ducks and geese and cranes. Some, I guess what you'd consider upland birds, the grouse.
Of the big game, what's the most coveted one?
I'd say probably the Dall sheep or the mountain goat. They're probably the hardest hunt. You earn it. You're in their country. It's a lot of work.
You've told me about this before. You're out for days, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. And everything that you need for that week or 2 weeks, you carry on your back. You learn to pack light.
And what season of the year is this we're talking about?
It usually starts on the first part of September for most of the big game hunting.
So it's not bitterly cold yet?
No. It can get down to freezing at night, but you have to be kind of prepared for everything.
I know you enjoy being in Alaska and working here? We talk about visiting other places too.
I do like to travel. Been on several cruises. Anywhere 20 degrees north or south of the equator seems to be a real comfortable place for me. But and I do have a home in Nevada, in southern Nevada. So that's a nice respite at times.
Do you get satisfaction from the work here at CRTC?
I do. It's always a challenge. We get a lot of say in how we're going to meet those challenges, and I enjoy that.
Dave, really appreciate talking to you today.
Well, thank you, Mark.
Cold Regions Test Center conducts a wide variety of military equipment testing in some of the coldest temperatures ever encountered in populated places on Earth. They see their test range as a natural laboratory, and accurate weather data and predictions are vital to the success of their testing. That is where meteorologists like Dan Wisniewska come in. Dan, did growing up in Wisconsin prepare you for the winters of interior Alaska?
Yeah, I think somewhat, yes. Because in Wisconsin, it certainly does get cold. I do remember, minus 20 something, I'm sure 25 below or something like that. Plenty of snow. There is the four seasons, so living there definitely prepared me for living in a cold climate like this. It's still different in comparison, though, for sure. I mean, the winters here are, the cold spells are longer. We don't have the sun, warming up the atmosphere during the daytime. We don't quite typically get the heavy wet snow like in Wisconsin, but occasionally we do. And it certainly gets a lot colder here than in Wisconsin. I mean, I've never seen anything even to 40 below in Wisconsin in my time there. So until I got here. So.
What inspired you to pursue meteorology as a career?
When I was younger, I was always interested in astronomy. But then I think as I started growing up, I realized just how much additional schooling it would take to follow that path. So then I was always kind of a math nerd and science nerd. So I kind of looked for other career fields that were similar in nature. And I don't know, I don't even remember how or when, but I kind of fell upon meteorology and started liking it. And it was probably in my high school days when I really pursued meteorology and decided that's what I wanted to go to college for.
Did you ever think you'd be a weather forecaster for an Army post in interior Alaska?
No, I never knew where this career field would lead me. But no, certainly not. This is unexpected, but I guess you never know what paths you're actually going to follow in life. So,
why is meteorology and meteorological data so important to the test mission here at CRTC?
Yeah, it's important for there certainly are those situations where it's like go no go decisions. There's also a lot of the tests we get up here have certain parameters that they need to fulfill. They want to test in temperatures below zero or below 25 below, and so we have to be able to get that cold for them. We need to be able to tell them when it's going to get that cold, what kind of duration they're looking at, and we need to have instruments in the field to measure that data and collect that data for the customers, and then provide them with that information so that it wraps up their test reports. It gives them everything they need and require, and so everything is important. We have to be able to collect the data. It needs to be quality controlled and accurate. We need to be able to put together good forecasts, good quality forecasts for our customers, and tell them exactly when it's going to get cold enough for them to conduct their tests.
Like in Yuma, you have a large range that you're doing forecasting for, and there aren't uniform conditions, temperatures, and so on. What's it like forecasting for all these microclimates?
Yeah, it is crazy. I think on the scale of Yuma's much bigger than we are, range wise, but we certainly have the microclimates here are just, they can be insane. If it wasn't for all of our meteorology sites, all that would exist here is the airfield site on Fort Greely, and that's it. I don't think people would quite realize just the differences that would that do occur around here if it wasn't for all of our met sites out in the field. And yeah, it's the microclimates are insane. I mean, there's been times where it's been like I think 45-degree differences, instantaneous differences between two of our weather stations. And I mean, they're not, yes, they are miles apart, but in the long scheme of things, they're not that far apart. So, so it's been insane on those days.
And the extreme winters must do a number on your met stations too. So the summertime, you're resetting, refitting.
Absolutely, yeah. We almost have to do it in the wintertime too. If a sensor has completely failed at a site that we know is test teams are actively using that data, then we will go out and repair it even in the wintertime. It's not easy, but it's just what needs to be done. Otherwise, yeah, in the summertime we are making our way around to all of the stations and checking the bearings and checking for the props on the wind monitors, seeing if they're all chewed up from the wintertime or broken or whatnot. And yeah, it's our chance to go clean up everything and make sure everything's properly working for the next test season.
You've been here for 15 years now. You must like the Delta Junction community.
Yeah, absolutely. This area has certainly grown on me. We moved up here from Houston, Texas, so it was a very big change. I mean, population, weather, everything. So we weren't sure, at first. Like we didn't think we would be like Delta lifers or whatnot. But the beauty of living here and the quietness is wonderful. The summer times are great. So it definitely grew on us, and 15 years later, we're still here. So.
You must get a lot of reward out of supporting the mission too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always rewarding. Every time a test is able to successfully complete what they need to do, and we hear the comments from happy customers. It's extremely rewarding. And when the forecasts work out how we expected things to work out, that's wonderful too. A lot of times we don't even hear specifically from the test officers, but we know, like me and Caleb, we know if like we did a good job on the forecast or if we didn't do such a great job. So we always know that, and we can appreciate that too, kind of on our own. So.
Dan, thanks so much for talking to us.
Absolutely, yeah.
This has been Outpost Outspoken. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next time from the Army's busiest test center.